Okay, it says it's recording. Here we go. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about what I call the progression of open. And before I get going, we have looked at many different things through the history of QSM3, and of course that's all built on everything that's going on in chiropractic and the way that we see it, and that way that we want to kind of have a new vantage point for things. And tonight I'm going to talk about something that is going to sew up a lot of those pieces so that we can do a better job at releasing a patient and actually seeing what the patient wants, not what we think it wants, okay? So I always start with a little history and a little science, art, philosophy, because everybody comes into this in different places, and so I don't know who's going to show up, but hopefully more show up. And, you know, chiropractic has a science, art, and philosophy, and the philosophy that the body heals itself is the golden rule. You know, and it heals itself if we take care of it. And when we take care of it, we also take care of it in the way that that body wants to be taken care of. So there's very different things that resonate for people. So just like our art, we need to be able to find the art of the way that we deliver the adjustment, that it resonates with the human body, and also understand that when we lay somebody down, that every single thing is, that they are different as well. So it's not a cookbook situation, okay? And the art of what we do is probably the thing, in my opinion, that we lack, okay? And we lack it because it's very difficult to be good at something, okay, when you're doing something that is not structurally sound in the sciences, okay? And so we're taught when we look at this, and just look at this for a moment. You know, we only have a few people on here, but if you look at that, all of us have, you know, I know all of you, and you know the conversation that we're taught in school, that is, we just look at this thing, and all of us would say, wow, look at that curvature, and look at that, you know, you know, this big kyphosis right here. And that's kind of medical language, okay? It's not chiropractic language. We talk about the spine. Okay, so we think it's chiropractic language, but it's really just medical language, and it's medical language because it's just an identification process. That is there. This is here. And we have a multitude of techniques that look at this thing at some 1, 2, 3, 4 bone, 5, 6, 7 bone layer, okay, level, and say, hey, this thing is there. Okay, that's what we're taught, all right? And I did that for a long time. I did it for a really long time, and I was in a place in upper cervical work where I was looking at the upper cervical area more specifically, I think, than anybody on the planet. The two groups that I was in are, you know, two of the groups that are the most detailed. So, you know, I've looked at the detail of where this is and where that is. The piece that we're missing is this art form, okay, that comes after that. So for the past 7, 8 years, we've been looking at the science and trying to look at this picture in a different way, and to be able to have a conversation that says, hey, this thing is a lot more than just what I was taught at school, okay? Because from that, once we understand the science more, okay, then guess what happens? We're able to have an art form that actually fits into that, okay? And that is something that has also progressed. So next webinar, I think I'm probably going to talk about, you know, connecting and the way that I see it, and because you can be the greatest biomechanics person, but you got to be able to hit the ball, okay? So you got to be able to get yourself into that place and feel that place, and that is an integral piece, okay? So there is more information out there now. It's not my information, okay? It's information that other people are looking at. And there are anatomy people that look at, that are dedicated, you know, people that are at Harvard and medical doctors and those guys that are looking at anatomy because that's their thing, guys. They're in the labels. This is this way. And the more detail that they get it, man is happy. all right? You know that's the way it works. It's the detail into the X-ray isn't enough, an MRI to, yeah. So everything just, just keeps getting deeper, 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 deeper layers, okay? I'm going to pull us out of that tonight, okay? And into another layer that I'm going to peel off for myself that I peeled off in that same realm, okay? And we'll get to that. But it's exciting because there are different groups like anatomists and physiologists that are saying, hey, the human body is made in another way. It's not just a pile of bricks, and that bone isn't here and that bone isn't there, and we've got an attachment here, an attachment there, and that muscle pulls this, and this muscle lifts your arm, and that muscle just bends you to the right. That's just not the way it is, okay? That's mechanism. And the anatomists are starting to talk globally, and that conversation is tensegrity, all right? And what QSM3 represents is a global look at this picture, okay? And it looks at it from a tension point of view. It looks at it as in a live system, that it's not just a two-dimensional piece of paper that's a 5 over here and a 2 over there, but it's to try to understand what this thing is trying to tell us. Because there's 3 things in here. There's this body, there's this mind, and then there is this innate intelligence inside. And we need to be able to have an expression of all of those things on this system as it, and how it ends up this way. Because when we have that better understanding of the science, we'll have a better understanding of how to deliver the goods to take it out of this. All right? So what I've seen is there's basically 6 moving parts. There's the pelvis and the spine and the shoulders and the neck and the head. And then there's the expression of that in gravity, and that's weight. Okay? So I want to tell you about this because it's actually cool, is that Paul Collette sent me an article, and I think I posted it up. If you didn't see it, you should take a look at it. But it talks about that Einstein even had trouble with the law of gravity. And now what they see is they took an iPhone and they use an app on it that measures velocity and acceleration. And they found that when they threw a iPhone up, and what would be your expectation? You throw it up, it would speed, it would be fast, it would start slowing down because gravity is, and eventually it would stop, it would reverse, and then it would fall back down and accelerate, right? That's what the law of gravity is, okay? That's what it's about, is that pull back into the earth, okay? Well, that's not the case, okay? And what they say now is that the universe is actually expanding, and that we're actually catching up to the iPhone because it measured a constant velocity and acceleration, 0 acceleration, a constant velocity at every level of that peak, of that arc that we measure in the physical realm. So the human body has these 6 balloons, and when it is in its healthy place, which we'll talk about tonight, it is able to adapt to that acceleration. Okay, an expansion of the universe. And when it can't do that, okay, guess what happens? The system is no longer part of the flow of that acceleration, and it gets smashed down because it's moving slower, because it has more friction, hence a physical law. So we have an expanding universe, and we have a system that's been damaged that is supposed to be made like stealth, and it can't do that. Okay? And that this is the effect of what we see. And our chiropractic history is to look at that and say, hey, we could help that because the body heals itself. And we go, wow, look at the spines all over the place. But, my contention is that everything's all over the place. There isn't a cell in the body that's in the right place. All right? So I like to take a look at what's called a global view of this. And we have 6 parts to that global piece, and they move in a relationship, and they also move independently, okay? So what we see out there is not a system of this system just getting collapsed. We're looking at a system that is in this compression tension system, all right? And so the body is not 100% tensegral. Tensegrity is like a balloon. Well, the body's not that because it has compression in it. and it has compression in it so that we can stand up, okay? So we have this relationship that's normal that we'll talk about in a moment, and we have an intelligent engineering, and we have an ability to be able to have a, what is normal on this thing? What would be normal here? What is normal? Normal is to have a straight system here, and also in the sagittal plane to have two lordotic curves and one kyphotic curve. Okay, and there's an intelligent engineering that goes behind that. So there is a normal that we don't even look at a global system and understand why it's there. So I would like to speak to that, even though it's not part of the conversation tonight. But all of this is a part of the conversation if we want to understand the global view. So what normal is in the frontal plane is nice and straight. This is not nice and straight, so it's not normal. Okay? But that gives us stability of the post. So we have the spine that should be straight and the system that should be straight, and we have muscles that attach in triangles. If you look at it on if you go to Netter and go look at you'll see the traps and the lats and the quads and all the stuff, and everything is just all triangles to support this. So I look at this like a telephone pole, and all the wires, which is the muscles, the guy wires holding it, hold it up vertically. And in the sagittal view, we have a 3-curve system that gives us bounce. Okay? So we have a stable front and a bouncing sagittal curve that's put together for perfect engineering. Okay? So there is a global attachment to these things, meaning this system moves as a unit. It's just 6 balloons, and when you move one thing or you put energy into a balloon, you exert the whole thing. So we have found that up here in this area, all the system that comes up here, do you ever push on somebody's neck and notice that their hip moves? Of course you do. Okay, because you're creating tension in the fascia up here like a rubber band, and it moves towards you. Okay, I push here all the time, and the head comes up because I can create a force that comes around. So the human body is an attention system. It has global attachments, and people like John Grostick, people like Ralph Gregory, people like B.J. Palmer found in this area miracles happened. Okay? Pierce found it at C5. Miracles happened. All right? There is no question that when people are in trouble, they seek out the upper cervical area. And why they do is not because of the specificity and not because of the brainstem, is because you can use this area as a hub because of all the engineering and all the attachments that come up here. So that's what we do at QSM3, is that we look at this system and we say, what is normal? Where is it broken down? Okay? And how do we access it so that we can help people do a little bit better? Okay? Within a system. All right? So we found up in the cervical areas that the 2 curves and the 2 attachments are very different. Spinous attachments and transverse attachments are very different. Of course they are. Look at where they attach. So they have to do different things. So if we look at the engineering, the innate engineering of the human body, and we look at the body as a system that is collapsing down, then we can access in the upper cervical area, or the cervical area, access up here and release tension that we see anywhere in the body. That's cool. All right. So, I tell my patients, imagine a big balloon, and in the balloon there is like rubber bands pulling it down. So they're pulling it down, and that's what creates this collapse here. Well, my job is to release those rubber bands. And where do you think they span from? From the bottom to the top. And I just release them here. And if I can release them and allow the system to open, which is what we're going to talk about tonight, guess what happens? Miracles happen. Every day. Not every once in a while. Okay, so we have looked at QSM3. We've looked at the relationships of what do the spinuses do. And the spinuses are attachments, what? For the sagittal curve. They're the ones that keep that curve in there. Okay, and when they break down, guess what happens? We get the grandma falls forward thing. Okay, and grandma falls down. And we lose the curves, so what happens? We take a bouncing system that is standing upright, and we turn it into a building, a pencil. And pencils and buildings don't jump well. They don't bounce. So the system becomes rigid, and arthritis just goes flying. Okay? So the answer that's out there in chiropractic is doing curve restoration. Okay, well, I'm going to just fix that curve. Okay? And it's not the curve's fault, and the curve is not primary. Okay? It's the system that's been damaged and the system that has to be restored so that the curves can come back. So we need to be able to create a stable system that sits more centered so that the curves can come back. All right? So there's a process to this scenario. And each of these attachments, C0, occipital rim, you can get the dura. Okay, people that have trigeminal neuralgia, tension around that brainstem, you can release that from the C0 rim right up under the occiput in the triangle. Okay? You can release at C2 spinous. You can bend C2 up, down, forward, backward, like a toggle switch. Okay, like rolling a ball, and release tension three-dimensionally in the dura. It is our entrance right into the dura. Three-dimensionally, you can be pulling on the dura that sits all the way up in there. And you could feel the tension by learning a palpation skill, patient placement, and understanding the biomechanics and how to release things so that you can get into that area and change lives. You can get into the C5 area and not just get somebody so that they're more vertical, but they're actually moving without tension. So there is another stage to this. There is a stage where we restore balance and the capability of the human body to be more centered and upright and not falling down. And then we have an ability to restore three-dimensional motion so it's smooth. It's the idea of you take a cast off and the job's not done. You have to restore motion. So it's not okay to have somebody on orthogonal or unbalance. What I'm looking at is how to restore dynamic motion on top of that. And who talked about that? That was Gillet, man, with motion palpation. He wanted motion, okay? And we could just keep looking at all the techniques, and every technique as just another expression of innate intelligence, and of universal intelligence. And what we're trying to do is sew all those pieces together to get a global look at everything and understand it. So we look at the attachments on the sagittal plane, and we say, I want to restore those three curves so the human being can have bounce, okay, can have those curves back and dynamic motion. We want to restore the transverse process and the attachments there, okay, so that they're symmetrical so they support the post as well as possible. People that break down on the post in the frontal plane, you see the people that have their shoulder problems and the shoulder rolling forward. So there's specific attachments. And it's just, I didn't point this out on the sagittal plane and the spinuses, but the big pieces, all you have to do is look at innate intelligence and you know the big players. And we don't talk about that. We don't talk about why we have the curves, which curves and what are the curves important for, and the attachments to the curves so that we, it doesn't matter whether you move the bone or you move the fascia, you're moving it all. At the end of the day, you have to create balance and motion. So we all want to do the same thing. Okay, we just need to have a global look at it and understand it a little bit better. I'm going to ask that you put yourselves on mute, because I've got some reverb going on. Please. Okay, that's all right. I got you, Larry. Yep. There we go. No. Sorry, I got a bad connection.
Roger. Says Roger.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. All right, so we're cool. Okay, so we've gotten to a place where we're trying to look at a global view of a human being that has had a misalignment and has had a bunch of trouble, okay? So we can understand what normal is standing vertically in the frontal plane, and we can understand what normal is of having the two curves and having good uprightness and good stability and symmetry in those areas. But that's not where the people come into our office are. They're in this place, okay? And this is a system that's been damaged for sure, and that's, why we're in business, to help that. So the anatomists say, hey, there's tensegrity is the cool thing, okay, and that's the way it is. The physiologists say, hey, you know what? If you're not tensegral, you're collapsing down, and that affects you at a biochemical level. That's what they say. And then what Russell Friedman says is that if we could restore that, then we can change biomechanical things in the human body. Biochemical. That's just the way it rolls, man. Okay? That's math. Okay? So, if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. So, we have spent the past 7-8 years looking at this thing and taking it from a bone to a three-dimensional system and realizing, and now that my patients say to me, a guy came in with a boot today, okay? Doesn't have a fracture, his foot's all swollen. I said, that boot's not going to help you, man. That's just going to mess you up, okay? And I just explained to him why, and he took the boot off. Can't do things on the outside. We need to take care of things on the inside. So what we look at in QSM3 is a relationship system. And we have a posture measurement system because we're structured people. And we wanted to have a way, and we came with a way to say, how can we go ahead and talk about what's going on in the human body and have a conversation about it? And then identify some of the things that are right and some of the things that aren't right, and then have a conversation on what do we got to do to get some changes here. So we've gone through that process multiple times, and we basically have 6 moving parts, which are the 3 structures on the outside, which is the low hip, the spine, and the weight. And then we have the neurological response on the top of that, which is the shoulders, neck, and head. So the bottom goes one way and the top goes the other way, okay? And then what happens is, and this is what happens, this is what the middle is. The middle is the energetic ability of the human body to support that structure and function picture. I'm going to say that again. The middle is the energetic ability of the structure here and the function here to support this thing. Okay? So this feels like 12 pounds to that misalignment, to that person off on the right side. That's what the stress is. That's what they feel. Okay? They are able to hold it upright and collapse 5 millimeters because they're holding that 12 pounds. That's what that means. So if Grandma was holding 12 pounds and Russell Friedman was holding 12 pounds, in that misalignment, Grandma would fall down faster, which means she has a less of an energetic relationship to this misalignment, and she's collapsing. Okay? I tell my patients, you're carrying a suitcase. When you have to put it down, that's when you're collapsing. We want to put you in a place that you're supporting your life. That's what I do. So I know what normal is. I'm an expert at what normal is. Frontal plane, sagittal plane, attachments, I'm an expert at that. I didn't say I know everything, but I'm an expert at that. I know what abnormal is. That's abnormal. Right? Isn't that abnormal? Okay? So we need to have a conversation about how to deal with that. Okay? And that thing has relationships. And the best we can do, guys, is to create balance in this system where we got 3 rights, 3 lefts, or 3 lefts and 3 rights. Okay? The structure and the function are opposing itself. And we want the weight between 0 and 3 pounds and the twist between 0 and 3 pounds. And that's where I say the human body can hold itself upright and live a life and say, hey, this is a 12-pound suitcase that I'm standing on one leg, hanging over the subway station in New York with my arm out, and I can't handle that, and I start falling down. I want to make that into a 3-pound suitcase that you're standing on 2 feet, okay? And what do you call that? You call that a human handbag, okay, of a woman holding a handbag, okay? So that is sustainable, okay? And that is what I call balanced and open and sustainable. So now we have another thing that we're going to look at, okay? Oops, sorry. Okay. Is a measuring system that says, hey, this is not sustainable. And we have an identification process of that. Okay? We can look at this and say, hey, that's not 3 R's on this side, and that's not 3 L's then on that side. Hey, this is 2 R's and 1 L, and this is 3 R's. This is 3 R's and this is 3 R's. Wow, what the heck's going on here? Okay? So because these misalignments are different, they are different expressions of human structural inability to sustain itself. Okay? A paper cut is not the same as a chainsaw massacre. A subluxation is not a subluxation is not a subluxation. So we've defined what subluxations do to people, and that just keeps growing, obviously. Because just to say everything, one word, kills you. Okay? Because the human body can't live in this space because it's compressing every cell. So there's a place that you could take somebody from a problematic situation like this and start maybe changing it to that, or maybe changing it to this. So you got to even know what you can do. So I think we have to have a conversation on, well, after we measure these things, is what the heck do they mean, and what the heck do we have to do? Well, there is a group that does that. It's us. We do that already, and we know that. I know that. Okay, I do that. I know that to a level that I can have a conversation about it without bumping into myself whatsoever. And very, very easy to understand. And all of you, most of you on here probably already know that conversation. Okay? So we have to be able to look at these relationships and say, what do we have to do to these things? Which means we have to understand what we are able to do and what is the next step. I mean, you don't talk about if you're building a house, and you're working on the foundation, you are not talking about the color of the bathroom. Okay? And the human body needs to go through a progression and levels of sustainability. And to do that, you need to understand what normal is and what abnormal is, and which are bigger problems, and what you need have some priorities to watch for, and what would even make you happy with this. How do you would even know if you were okay after you made an adjustment? If you were just doing XYZ technique, okay, how would you even know that you made a change, even if you had these things? Because there's not an understanding of what's going on here. Okay? So there are 5 levels that I just keep honing in. And I want to tell you that when there are levels here, number one, couple things about levels and sustainability. Somebody may stay in a level for the rest of their life, in one level. They may stay at level 1 for the rest of their life. Okay, and you make changes in there. Okay? Now, I'm not going to buy that forever, but right now, I think that's a possibility, but I think that we just don't know enough. Okay? The second thing that I see is I see that I can work in every one of these areas when I release people. It's not like I take them from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 to level 4 to level 5. What I do is I go in, and when I'm working in the cervical area, and there is asymmetrical tension in those areas, and I'm releasing it, and then I release it dynamically, I am releasing and working in all of these levels all the time. But you know what? I can maybe release this and this, but I can't get all of that or all of that. So I get somebody to a balanced position, but I get them to 7 millimeters of twist where they used to have 12. Well, that's not level 4, which is, you know, somebody that's balanced, but between 0 to 3 millimeters. Okay? And they may come back in and then go right to a different pattern where they may go back to level 1 next time they come in, because that's life. Okay? So this isn't a cookbook of where today you're going to be at level 1, and in 3 months your care plan you're going to be at level 2. No, what I'm about is trying to get the body to decompress, and that is to open the system and let that tensegral tension and let that spring expand itself the way that it knows how to do that. That's what open is. We've been talking about up and open and decompression forever. And tonight, we're going to talk about it in a bigger way. And it's amazing how the same conversation just gets bigger. It's the words were given to us, and then they just keep growing and growing. So we just get bigger ideas. So cool. Okay? Bigger awarenesses. Okay? We've looked at integration. We've said, wow, that fixed point is off-center, and there's that head relationship. Most of you know what I'm talking about. And you see, oh, there's that relationship. And I'm going to fix that section. And then we go, okay, great, it's balanced now. Oh, it's reduced. Oh, man, I nailed that. Brad Hirschhorn calls me up and he says, man, that thing went from 15 pounds down to 2, and the twist came out to 1, man. It popped open, and it was reduced and clear. Okay, well, he's talking level 4. Okay? But when we get into level 5 and we restore the curves to the body, and the person goes, man, I feel like my shoulders are back. I feel like I'm up. I feel like I'm open. My patients, I hear it all the time. Man, I feel open. I don't give them that language. Man, I feel open. It's awesome, you know? So, and I could feel the bottom of that. Okay, and I want to be able to help you with that. Okay? So we identify where people are, and then we can have a communication with them so that they can understand better the extent of what's going on and a path to get it out, and somebody that actually knows what they're talking about.
Question.
Okay. Yes.
If you got to theoretically to a level 5, would that not be an RRRRR or an LLL if everything was tensegral and balanced?
No.
Okay.
Not to me. I mean, that doesn't mean that's not true. I don't know. You know, I'll tell you this, though. Listen, anything is possible, okay? Otherwise, there's no such thing as universal intelligence, because if you can imagine it, it's happening, okay? Because it can't be universal intelligence 100% all the time. I mean, you just think about that for a moment, okay? So anything goes, okay? What we're trying to do is have a conversation of what we see and the best way to take care of people, all right? Somebody, there is no question, that is in this position here, Brad, can be sagittally oriented and locked in place and have a bend in it, for sure. That is for sure. But I know that even when I said to somebody today, they had about 7 pounds off the center, and I said, that's going to come to center because I felt that hit the bottom. Okay? So sometimes the body has to catch up to it too, and you see that when people come in, you go, that's better than I left it. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's not because they went down the street and got an adjustment somewhere else, usually. Is it, Brad?
None in my neighborhood.
Excellent. Nobody walks in your neighborhood. It's Philadelphia. That's why. Okay. So what we've done is, and the last place, you know, I say on the previous episode, okay, this is where Chad Combs left off, okay, and got totally instilled, and he had it down, and then I changed something on him, and that's why he's here tonight, okay, is that we were looking at a specific thing that wasn't working, and we were releasing that thing and getting it oriented. We were working in level 1 and level 2, okay? Yeah. So what I started to see, and, you know, it's interesting, is that what started this conversation of looking at innate and seeing what it wants and not what I think it wants, started with the TPs and the spinuses because I just looked at, in Netter, I was looking at the attachments and I just wanted to see what went to what because I was feeling around and man, and I wanted to, and I started looking at the dura and what I started feeling, and then I started looking at C5 and what it does, and it just became fascinating that if I just look at the major players in the body, that I didn't have to look any further than what was right in front of me. I didn't have to imagine anything because innate is showing me what's important. So I started just, following innate. So when I adjusted somebody one day and somebody went off center and I was releasing it on the right, say it had right 10 pounds and I was in the algorithm. And that's why I walked away from the algorithm. I said some people aren't ready for it because when I went right 10 pounds and I got them on the right side and it went out to right 15. And my answer was that it got bigger because the body wasn't ready for it. Okay? So that's not what I know now. All right? So I had to start explaining that when I was working on this and I wanted to release the left side, that if I released it on the left, how did this thing go to zero? To me, the weight would get larger, and then I would have to flip it over. So I just started noticing things, okay? So I started with a place where, hey, where's the head tilt? The head tilt, man, will always tell you where something is underneath, and if you want to start on the opposite side of the head tilt, knock yourself out, okay? Boom. Then we started looking at the head tilt to a relationship, okay, or a single dysfunction. I think I got an error here. We've got a left here, and that probably should have said right there. Sorry about that, okay? And then we had the math idea. Well, man, if there's 5 rights and 1 left, then guess what? Okay, we got to get that person right side up because I'm going to change a right to a left. And guess what? That works. Okay, it does work. It just doesn't work all the time. Okay? So and it's like, what works? What works? What works? What works? Okay? So we went to this place where we were pushing on a bone, some of us, in the upper cervical world, but all of us in chiropractic. And we said, when I put this force in, I'm going to change something, and kabam. We've got no measurement system. This was our disclaimer. The body heals itself. Okay, that's at the lowest level of putting force in, that when you say, I put force in, the body heals itself. Well, in upper cervical, the work that I was doing, very specific work, we were saying, no, the body is stuck, and if we measure where it is, there are physical laws, and if we help the body in the proper path, guess what happened? It will do better. And that's true. There's truth to that, okay? So then we got more specific and we started looking at indicators and said, hey, if we put the force in just at C7 where this fixed point inserts, then I could just release this thing, okay? So we started looking at ways and things that were not working right and trying to fix them, okay? Well, tonight we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about something that's more global, okay? Called a global release. So I'm in practice now 22 years, okay? I'm in my 22nd year, I think. And for 21.8 of them, I have been in the mentality of trying to fix it. I'm going to fix this thing. I'm going to make it orthogonal, I'm going to make it straight, and I'm going to fix it, okay? I have never, ever seen that happen in 22 years. I've made things better. I've made things straight, but I haven't made them all straight, and I haven't made them all unrotated. Okay? Have I gotten close? Yeah. Okay? So this fix thing is not what I talk about. Okay? It's baloney. Okay? Because our goal is not to fix that. Our goal is to create a system that says, hey, I could support this. I could support this better. I could support my life here. It's an energetic deal. It's not a bone out of place. Okay? So to do that, tonight I'm going to talk about opening. Okay, so I just spent 40 minutes going through a little bit about what we do. Are there any questions before I go on? Nothing? Nobody talks to me. Okay. So, opening. So I got away from this fixed thing, and now where I look at the postural misalignment is a concept of opening. All right, and that is everybody that I deal with. I would say 99% of them, man, are I work in an open posture. Okay, meaning to how do I go ahead and open up the system that when it pops out, guess what happens? It's out. And if it's out and it's free, what do you think the nervous system's going to do? It's going to find its own way home. I don't have to fix it anymore. So if I can find this bent up, sectional twisted balloon and release it, then I can go ahead and let it out kind of like an ant farm or a maze, has the path to let it out. So, I see it as a compressed funnel down in here. All misalignments live in here. And my goal is to find the way at which it pops out along this circumference. Okay? So guys, everything that I'm talking about tonight is not just the concept of how to do, is the understanding of what we have to do, but we have to be able to have the application to do that as well. Okay? And that's what the conferences are about, is to get that hands-on. So if we can get this cleaned up, we could spend our time releasing stuff and make good conferences. Okay? So if you look at this scenario here, my goal to have something open is when the rotation reduces considerably. Okay? I'll explain the second part later. Okay? Something like this. So if you look at this here, you'll say, if 3 are supposed to be the same here and 3 are supposed to be the same here, it looks like that weight is the odd man out. Okay? And that should be a left. And if I can get that on the left, then guess what's going to happen? That person will be able to open and will have the ability to have all this compression come out. Okay? And that's what happened here, is that this system opened up. How do I know that? Because the rotation reduced. The rotation reduced. Okay, watch this. We're going to do a lot of this tonight. This is going to be good. I'm going to walk this through, I think, pretty good. I may actually do a decent job for a change. Okay? All right. So the first decision that you have to make in any misalignment is, what do you think the setup is going to be? Is it going to be a left, 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 or is it going to be a right, right, right just underneath? So that's where the information of the head, the single dysfunction, and the math, we are able to have a conversation and look at this and say, hey, what do you think the setup is going to be here? Okay? So would anybody like to tell me what they think the setup would be here?
I'll go with left, 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 right, right, right.
Sounds fair to me. I would agree with that. Okay? So, Brad, what was your indicator here? What would you say?
I looked at the right 6 point, and I looked at the left head.
There you go. So the structure below has a neurological response above. Okay? And if that right 6 point gets released over to the left, guess what's going to happen? That head's not going to have to do that anymore. Okay? Everybody see that? Okay. So we have the setup would be a left, 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 right, right, right. Okay? Absolutely key decision. All right? The next one here is, what would the setup be here? It's not that difficult. Come on, this is going to be a right, right, right with a
Right,
left, left,
left, left, left.
It's not, okay. Okay. So, and then what is this going to be here? This is an interesting
left,
one.
Right, right, right.
What's that?
Argue for both.
Left, right, right, right.
Who said left, 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 right, right, right?
Travis.
Travis, why'd you say that? Because you got this right. Because you got this right. Because I pulled your nose on this one.
Yeah, for a while. All that weight, just that 20 pounds.
Yeah, this is an important one that I put in here in this pattern. Okay, and you look at these three lefts and you look at that one right and you go, oh man, that's a jam pattern. I'm just going to pop that off. I'm here to tell you that I would rather try to get that pelvis over on that left and keep that 20 pounds over there, because 20 pounds of weight's a lot of weight. And to me, this person is not going to go all the way over to the right. So my personal opinion is this is setting up left, 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 right, right, right. Okay? Now let me tell you something that's cool that you're going to learn tonight. You're going to learn what innate intelligence is going to tell you that what it wants. So if you pick the wrong thing and you were able to release tension, you're going to be able to watch what you have, the way that innate's going to respond to it. Okay, there's only one problem. You need a posture IQ for that. that's the caveat to this. Okay, and I'm just going to tell you this, guys. Okay, if you don't have one and you can get one, you need to get one. And if you don't have one and you can't get one yet, and you want to do the best work, you need to figure out how to get one, because you can't do the best work by looking at it and whatever stuff you think you've got going on, because it ain't happening. Okay, and I'm not being a wise guy. I'm just telling you. Okay, if you want to, you pick up the phone and you text me and you say, I've got a patient that I can't help. Okay, well, sometimes we don't have the right numbers and the right measurements. Okay, I see it on a regular basis. Okay, so the best work requires the device that does that for you. Okay, and again, you plan for it. Hopefully you'll get one. I hope you do. It's important for the work to do this, okay? So with this one here, I think it's going to set up as a left, 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 right, right, right. That would be my call, okay? But again, the cool thing is we're going to find out what innate wants when I do it. So it's not like...
And tell us what the indicators were?
What's that?
Go back to that previous screen, the second postural listing. What are the indicators for that one?
Well, to me, what's going on here is that this probably should be right, okay, and this probably should be left, okay? That's the way I see that. This should be a right, right, left, and a left, 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 okay? What's the indicator here? It's just basic looking at it on this one, okay? Now you could say, well, why is this left? Okay, it could be because that's too far right. Maybe there's been damage to the bow there. You follow me, Ryan? You asked the question, didn't you?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So you can look at this, and you could say, well, why is that head left? Because it never subluxate. Well, possibly it's the shoulder that got damaged, and right now, and that's over there, okay? And that shoulder damage could also create some issue down below. That's not integrated, and that's the way it's collapsing. Because these rights with a left forward, do you see how that's swinging out? I don't know if you're able to stand up, but if you stand up and drop your right hip and you lean to the right, how do you get a left four if 80-something% of your body weight is on the right? Is you swing your hip over to the left, which means right low hip, with a really right low spine. It leans right. The shoulder comes with it, okay, possibly, because that's where the damage is that's driven it down, and the neck and head have to turn. So I can make a case for that. The bottom line is, I'd rather change one thing on either side that oppose each other. How's that? Structure and function. That's the easy way to look at this. I got a structural component and versus a functional component. Okay? And then another functional component that could be dealing with that over-functioning, meaning more damage. You okay with that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. And the other one, I just looked at the weight. I just looked at that and said, I'm going with that. You know, I'm just going with that. Okay, so once you realize the way you have a setup, nothing else matters. Okay? Once you have a setup, you have a side that's up. Okay? So in this one here, what do you want as the setup?
Right, 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 left, left, left.
Okay, so we got a right, right, right. Okay. So if you want to open something, you are going to take the function and put it up, if you just want to know the easy way to look at it. I look at it as opening the function onto the structure. Okay? I want to open this misalignment up. That's right, right, right. That's left, left, left. And I want to expand it out this way. You see what I just did? This is the right side here. I'm looking at somebody's back. Here's their low hip. Here's their spine. Okay? Here's their shoulder, neck, and head. Here's my release. Left side up. Got it? Opens it up. Can you see how that opens it? No? Yes? Maybe?
Yes.
You said you want function to structure, though.
Yeah.
The function is on the right side, correct? LLR?
Correct.
So if you're saying function to structure, then that...
Oh, we got a, L side up. I'm going to put the function onto the structure. We're setting it up like an RRLLL. The function is left. I'm releasing the function left side up onto the structure. Yes?
The function is left.
Mm-hmm. Brad, do you see how this, which way would you open this?
Well, I agree with what you're saying, but I'm thinking if you're putting function on the structure, then you're putting right. Oh, I see. Right.
No, I'm putting the
right,
left
right
onto
head,
the right. What is function? Is left. Function is left onto structure right.
Okay.
Left to right.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So listen, for now, if you have, until you go, oh, what am I thinking here? Okay? If you've got it, if you say that the structure is going to be right, left side is going to be up. Okay? Chad, can you handle that, my brother? That's simple, right?
Yes, sir.
Simple. So you use the information you had. The dysfunction. Okay? You're going to throw now in that big weight. Okay? You're going to look at the dysfunctions. You're going to look at the math, and you're going to make a decision. You're going to say, this thing's going to set up this way. You use an educated, experiential, and you make a decision. Okay? The cool thing is that you're going to find out what's going on. Okay? It's not like, why isn't that thing staying there? Or why isn't it this? You're going to know now. That's the beauty of this. Okay? Because you got to either 50-50 chance of getting it right. Okay? All right? You got to open this thing up. I want to explain to you what open does. Okay? When you open this thing up and you allow innate intelligence to be free, it will do what it needs to do. That is a core belief in chiropractic, yet we don't know how to do that. Okay? I'm telling you that this is a conversation that starts that. It no longer is about fixing it. Is that we have gone down the rabbit hole and now we're out. And we're out looking at a three-dimensional body that has structure and has neurology, and it has a path because it's Tensegrity that we can spring it out to open. And when we open it, okay, if we got it right, all right, we're going to see the structure of the rotation release out, okay? And then we're going to follow it from there. Here we go. Okay, so the decision one right now is what is the setup, okay? And then what is the release? And then what is the post? That's going to be number 3. So number 1, what's the setup? If you got right structure, you're starting left side up. If you got left structure, you're starting right side up. Simple. Okay? I release all the TPs and all the spinuses, okay, on both sides in posterior and anterior. Okay? Now let me tell you just before we go any further. Level 1 conversation is how to release something. And we were doing this, right? This is what we were doing. We started this open conversation, and now I understand why. What is level one? Level one is releasing the function on the structure, right? It's opening it. So you start on the structure side, and then you end on the function side. That's exactly what this is, okay? It's another step of understanding opening. Okay, level one and what I'm talking now is exactly the same. We're just going to look at it a little bit differently. So decision one, what's the setup? You figure out what you know what you think is going to work. Okay, I'm making plenty of wrong. Okay, and I've seen people that are going to set up this way, and that's definitely going to set up that way. After I adjust it, 2 visits later, it's doing something different. Why? Because you released it and it's setting up differently now. Why? Because anything is possible. Okay, once you understand that anything is possible, okay, then you can understand that anything that you look at is just you have to understand the possibility of what you have to do and watch. And the only way to do that is watch the change that you make. Okay? We don't do that. We watch the change, but not in a structural way. Okay. So the next thing is what's the setup? We now know the release. Is everybody okay that if I think it's a right, left, 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 I'm going to start left side up. I'm starting function up. Okay? If I think the setup is going to be, and that's what I ask when I ask on Facebook, what is the setup going to be? You're going to write left, 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 comma, right, right, right. It's not 6 lines of information. Okay? When I say what is the release, okay, one side, you're going to tell me in a right, 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 you're going to put an L there. And when it's a left, left, left structure, you're going to put a right there. Okay? If you want to release, okay, because, and this is important you hear this, if you cannot release things from both sides, from one side, you have to release things from both. Okay? So if you are in whatever place you're in your adjusting skill, all right, and you want to open something, you may want to adjust on the structure first and then the function. That's level one. And you're still opening last. You always want to do what you want to do last, not first. Okay? If you have been doing this for a while and you feel comfortable and you have a posture IQ, I highly suggest that you adjust them on the one function side, because you will be able to see immediately what you have done and which way the body wants to go. And if you want to try that anyway, you can do that. You know, knock yourself out, okay? But you got to be able to go back and forth a little bit. I go ahead and adjust everybody on whatever the setup I think is going to be. Again, if this is a right, right, right here on this one, okay, I'm going to start left side up on this one, okay? So what I do is after left side up, I don't start right side up like a level one. I just go right to left side because I want to go right to the posture IQ and I want to see what it did. Okay, because that information on the post is crucial. Okay, so let me just erase this. So let me show you what I mean by that. Okay? Okay. So if you look at this, okay, so what's the setup on this? We already talked about this. This is the one from the last page, okay? We said it was going to set up as a right, 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 left, left, left. Is that fair? We got a single function, and we've got a head that relate to each other. Does everybody see that? So we have, hey, not only do we have 2 on this side and 1 on this side, but we also have a dysfunction here, and we have a relationship to the head there, structure and function. So it gives me comfort to say, hey, this thing should be a right, 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 left, left, left. And if I release this left weight, left side up, which is function anyway, I'm going to release it onto the right. Now I've got everything going. Okay, I'm releasing on the function side, which is going to be left, which is really the fixed point, and which is really going to open this up, and what's going to happen. Okay? Any questions on up to that? So I'm starting left side up. Any questions? What's the setup? What's the release? Has everybody got it?
Russell.
Yes.
So, I'm confused. I'm kind of out of practice here with what I've been doing lately. So, which side is considered structure and what side is considered function on the listing for the pre?
This is structure here. This is structure here. This is the low hip. This is the fixed point, the spine, and this is the weight. And then this is the shoulder, which is, the righting reflex, Stephen. So, the body goes off lower right, and then the shoulders, neck, and head should turn together the opposite way. And it should be between 0 to 3 pounds and 0 to 3 pounds and twist. Okay? So when I release this person to the left, okay, I started left side up, okay, did the rotation reduce?
Yes.
Is it open? Say yes.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
If the rotation reduces, it's open. Okay? Okay. All right. So what happens if this was the post? Okay, not Stephen because you're okay, but Brad Hirschhorn, Chad, Andy, anybody on here, Ryan, Yoshi, Travis, every single person on here, okay, would you stop here?
Yes.
Yes, of course, you would stop. Well, what happens if the post was here? What happened here that's different?
The weight increased.
The weight went more.
The weight went to the right, more to the right. Okay? Okay, let me ask you a question. Is it open?
Yes.
Is it finished?
No.
Okay.
Could be.
It could be. Thank you. It could be. It could be because you can wait on this and will come to center on its own if you wait. I would wait on this and let them rest, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And also this is not a standard question, but let's say this is one that we're going to talk about. And so there's a concept of opening, and then there's going to be another concept of what we have to do here. Well, what happened on this one? Okay, is it open?
No.
Why?
No.
It's
not balanced.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. What's the definition of open?
Structure over function.
No.
Reduce rotation.
Thank you. Did the rotation reduce here?
Yes.
Is it open?
According to that, yes.
No, not according to that. According to me.
Or that.
Too. It's open, okay? Is it finished?
No.
Okay, that we could see. Now you see there's a difference. Okay, so let's look at number 4. Okay, is it open?
Nope.
Is it finished?
No.
Okay,
No.
so what happened in these two that's different in these two? To the weight.
It got worse. It got worse.
It didn't get worse in a sense because you could say that got worse too. It came at you. Is that you releasing on the left and the tension came back at you? Can you see that?
Yep.
Do you see how this release is moving away from you and it's moving in the direction that you're releasing? You're releasing on the left to right and it's going to the right. This one you're releasing left to right because it's left side up and it's going to the right. Can you see that?
Yes.
Do you see that you're releasing on the left and this is coming back at you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And could you see that that's doing it here?
Yes.
So this one, okay, good. All right. I'm going to have to make you suffer a little longer. Okay, so what do you think about that?
Flip.
Possibly.
Maybe a left, right.
Okay, hold on a second here, guys. Okay? The answer is not the answer. The answer is understanding what's going on. If you tell me flip, and you tell me this, if something isn't working on the right, obviously there's a left, but if you don't understand why, then you ain't learning anything, okay? So we got to be able to understand what's going on, and in any of these misalignments, any misalignment, these 4 scenarios are the things that could come up. And sometimes you have to be patient because even you may see something and the body hasn't settled down yet, okay? So
one of the things that I'm seeing, this is Michael, is that I do not want the fixed point opposite the weight. That tells me that there's something going on, that I'm not done yet, that person is not, if their fixed point is off to the side one way or the other, I want that weight on that same side.
Okay, so would you like one of my pig head moments, or would you like one of my what I'm talking about here is not what one structure is doing, but what it's trying to do globally. And rotation is a direct indicator that something has lifted itself out and could support itself in that misalignment. And when it does that, it's open. That's what I need you to hear. You may have work, Michael, to do where this fixed point is still not right, but you measure the rotation and it's out.
That's what I'm talking about is more, is more
yeah,
3
man, I'm with
than
you
4.
on that.
I'm totally with you. If there's like that amount of rotation in there, we got to get that out, and that's compressed.
So what I found is this concept. Imagine, you know, there used to be these wood sticks that had rubber bands all around them, and you can press them and twist them, and then if you got them untwisted a certain way, they would just pop open, okay? So I don't remember. It was when I was younger I had one of these things, okay? So what I see is the human body is very similar to that, is that if we can create the space where it's open, these pieces that Michael are talking about, I'm seeing them move back into the place and snap into place because we have created an open space and a normal height between those joint spaces that the system can converge on its own. Okay?
Yeah.
So we're out of the dogma of I'm going to push it and fix it or I'm going to release it because it's right weight, is how do we find a way to release this thing and watch innate tell us what it wants. Okay? And these are the scenarios that happen. And I'm sure there's more because there's subgroups, you know, there's infinite numbers. Okay, so let's just go through this. I've just got a little bit longer, but, you know, we're on slide 20. I think we've got this will go quickly from here. Okay. Okay. So let's look at this real quick, okay? And this one up here, left, 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 right. Let's say it's going to set up as a left, left, left. We can see the indicator is just the weight. It's a jam, okay? So is there any skull relationship? No. Is there any single dysfunction? No, I don't see just a single dysfunction relationship to the head, but there is just one dysfunction, okay? The math, there's 4 R's and 2 L's. Okay, so it says, you know, release more right, so forth and so on. I think it's going to set up as an LLL, RRR, which means I would release it on the right. The math tells me to do that. The weight tells me to do that, but the head does not tell me to do that. Fair enough? Okay, I'm going with LLL, RRR. It's the easiest thing. It's the simplest way to release it. Okay, so this is an A27, A22. This is what it posted to, okay? It posted on So I released it on the right. Did it travel in the direction that it was supposed to travel?
Yes.
Yes. Is that good, Brad?
Yeah, very good.
Very good, okay. Is it finished? It's 10 pounds off.
Maybe.
Is it finished forever?
No.
Okay, is it finished for today? We don't know that, okay? But the rotation went from 27 to 12 and 22 down to 9. This is an NP that I had last week. So I'm done here, okay? It's open. Is it completely open? No, but man, that's a lot of rotation coming out of that thing. 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. Millimeter difference between your pelvis, one side of pelvis and the other is the top of the chart. So this is almost 3 times that amount, 27 in the shoulder, 22 in the pelvis, 2 times in the pelvis. Okay? So I said it's going to set up as an LLL, released it on the right. That's what happened. Okay? If you want to release it, I just released it on the right. If you want to take it because you want to do both sides and you want to feel those things and it's where you are, and you release it on both sides. If you can't, if there is stuff that needs to be gotten from that left side and you don't get it, you know, you'll see it. Okay? Okay? And the only reason why I'm telling people one side is people that have been doing this for a while, because you're going to watch what innate is telling you right off the bat if you're good at it. If you're good at releasing, and you'll those 4 things will tell you what's going on right away. So you go right to the source. That's what I do. I want to see right away. I don't want to hit it. I don't want to adjust it on both sides because that muddies the waters for me. I want to see what that one side's going to do only. Okay? So we're going to find out in just a minute what has to happen. Okay? Because it's not just about a one-sided adjustment. It's about finding out what side that Nate wants you to open it in. Okay? So let's look at this one. You got an LRR with an RRR. Okay? So what do you think the setup's going to be here? You can pick anything you want. I picked right, just because that weight was kind of up there. Oh, I know why I picked this. This is a person that this is one that I would pick as a left first. This is why I brought this up. Brad, you would say I'm going left, right on this, right?
I was just going to say that. Yes.
I knew you would. Okay, and I would too. But I looked back. This is an established patient that I've been working on for a little bit. And so I probably have a couple months of care on them. And I looked through their patterns, and I saw a right 22. Okay?
So that's where they were originally?
Yeah,
okay.
Up in that zone. And when I saw that, I said, that probably wants to be on the right, and I'm just reducing it. I am opening it. I'm just opening it slowly. Okay? I'm not opening it all the way because I don't know what I'm doing yet. Okay?
Right.
Fair enough. So that's why I picked a right, left. But if this was a new patient, I would take this as a left, right. Anyway, I mean, we can look at the indicators, okay? You could say, I'm going to start on the left because the head's on the right. There's 5 R's and 1 left. I'm going to start on the right. Okay? Okay? So, you can do what you want to do. I got, my math is wrong here. Oh, well. All right. So I chose to adjust this left side up because that was my setup. Once I pick my setup, I'm done. I don't look at my indicators or where things are. I just get on that thing and just start opening it up at every space that I know where to open it up. Okay? So I started on the left, and this was my post. Okay? So I started on the left, and the rotation got bigger, okay, and the weight got bigger. Is that good? And is it open?
No.
No, it's not finished and it's not open. So I got to figure out what I got to do. But is it open? No. Okay, this one here, we're going to move quickly. Is this one right? Okay, let's say it's going to start on the right, okay? It's going to be a right, and a left. I start on the left.
Can I say something about the last one?
Yes.
So the last one, I had somebody like that yesterday, and I decided to start them on the left side, okay? And the reason is like, why are they way over to the right? And I was thinking, like, maybe the body's trying to get something. It's trying to get something going on the left side. She also had some weakness on the left side, okay? So she was going all the way over to the right because I think there was some impingement or something like that. So I wanted to open that up anyway. Got the rotation out. The weight increased, and I thought...
You started on what side? You started on the left side?
Left side. Rotation came out. She started leaning over more. Weight increased on the right side. I decided to keep going.
What happened to the pelvis?
It came down.
The pelvis on the left went to the right?
What's that?
The pelvis on the left went right?
We're not going to talk about pelvises, okay? We're not going to talk about pelvises.
Well, was the low hip?
But the rotation
change?
The rotation came down, okay? Rotation came down. I just kept going,
I would need
right?
All right.
All right, so I kept going, and then all of a sudden it popped and it came up upright. Okay? And then she was balanced, and then I checked the pelvises, and the pelvises were even. In the pounds, I mean, she went out to like 25, from like 12 to 25, and then it was under a pound. So
right. So she went out to 25. The rotation was reduced. You let her rest, or you worked with her again, and she came to center.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still staying on the left side.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the way I would take that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Very good. There you go. Beautiful. Okay, but even if you started on the right side, you would know, because by the end of this class here, you're gonna know. Okay, so now we have. These are the same things. We're just walking through these here. Okay, and whatever these things say, we talked about this, and then this is the post here, okay? And this is what I say with this one here, is the rotation is reduced from 27 down to 12 and 22 down to 9. It is the release was to the other side. It is a balanced equation, okay? So this is a person that I say it's open, but it may need to be closed. So we opened it right side up, okay? Put the function on the structure. It released out to the left side, so it went with me. The rotation reduced considerably, okay, like 10, which is even more, 15 in the shoulder, okay, which is just in itself, done. And let the body do the rest. And the question is, do you turn them over and release that left 10? Okay, and that's just going to have to be a decision that you make on a patient-per-patient basis. And the reason, because some people may need you to close these things. Okay? So there is open and there is closed. Okay?
What happens if you do it and it blows it back the other way?
Well, then you had your answer whether you should have done it. So what are you going to do? You're going to have to go back on the right side and open it back up.
Start again. Okay.
Yeah, and Brad, you may find out, like I say to people, like I go ahead and I adjust it on the right side, and I feel like I have to close it because they're a low back pain patient, and that thing's sitting out on that left side like that, and I know it's going to bug them, okay? And I try to close it, and I go, cool, it looks great. It's now to left 2, and the rotation is even better, okay? And it falls down, man. Okay, so it falls down, and I do that a couple times. I said, I'm going to stay with it to see if it can handle it. And then I turn to them and I say, listen, I'm going to do something different. Okay, I'm just going to open this thing up and do this way and leave it out there. It could irritate you. You need to know that I'm doing this because every time I try to put it up, it falls down, and I have my little ruler. Okay, it's so simple for them to see. So now I'm going to try something and say, listen, obviously I need to see if this can handle it out here, and if this has got to sit here a little bit, and then I try it that way. Okay, so I make my decisions based on what is happening, okay, after I've made a decision on my experience of what I've seen. So I have places where I'm totally comfortable making a decision that is really solid, and there is areas that I then have to watch the way that the body responds. This could easily close on its own. This could easily bother somebody if you left it open, and this could easily fall down if you tried to close it, and they need to stay open. And you're going to have to start watching and keeping track of people's patterns and what you did. RL, open, closed. You okay?
Yes.
All right, that's it. So this one, we used to just treat like an algorithm. Okay, that's what we used to do, is we would set that up on the right side, okay, and then we put the weight up on the left, get the weight off the left side. That's just a standard algorithm. There's just some people can't handle these things. And if we watch innate, it will tell us what it can handle. And when it can't handle something, you don't do that. You only, do what it can handle. And you try to find a place that it can handle and sustain. And you build it through those levels. Okay? Questions? Is anybody struggling with this? Because I want to try to make sure this is as straightforward as possible. We're going to pick a setup. Okay, and if you've been following along, then that's how you do that. If you haven't been following along, then you're gonna, you're just gonna engage and you're gonna pick it up. Okay, it's the way it rolls, man. If you want it enough, I think it's the greatest thing, man. So I couldn't adjust. I couldn't even think of adjusting anybody any other way. I couldn't even fathom it. Okay, I said to my wife last night. I was walking by. She was in bed, and I said, "Man, I just love what I do. I just love it, man. It just makes me so happy." And this is really a big piece to be able to do this. Okay? So guys, ladies, you know what I'm saying, is you got to be able to also hit, okay? So you got to get with me on that. All right? I can't teach you that on a webinar. So, the webinars are for exposure. Facebook is for me to, have you think. I never like to give answers on Facebook, if you notice, because I like to just throw out, hey, it's coming here. What do you think of this? What's this? What's this? Give you pieces and pieces because I want you to think. Okay, now I want to put stuff together and have you think in like a context. And then at the conferences, we want to, show you how to do it and apply it. Okay, so this one right here, boom, my setup was a right, 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 left, left, left. Okay, so I leased it left side up, and this is what happened. It went to right 12. And what happened to the rotation?
Looks like it increased.
It collapsed. Okay, so everything, I call this a collapse. Okay, so did I pick the right call?
No.
No. And you can see I didn't pick the right call because I made this up. I would never pick this as a right, 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 left, left, left. I take this as a left, 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 right, right, right. Okay? But that doesn't mean I get it right. See, the thing is about the deal is this is what would happen, and this has happened. Okay? So what I did is I realized that this is what I did on the left, and I said, hey, man, this is not going in the right direction. It's fallen down and collapsed. Okay? I released it on the left, okay? And the weight came the weight released out, but the body did not support it. Correct? So I turned this person over on the right side, saying, you know what, this is not going to set up as a right, 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 left, left, left. This is going to set up another way. Okay? And I released it on the right side. And it went to right 0.8 and zip, zip. You'll see this. You'll think it's going to set up a certain way. Even at that right 12, you're going to say, oh, it's definitely going to set up on the right. And it's not. It's not your will. It's the will of the innate. Anything goes. Okay? Because this weight got bigger doesn't mean that it wants to be there. All right, we're going to go through this some more. You're going to see this multiple places. This one right here, how would you set it up? Take a guess. It's going to go as a right, 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 left, left, left. This is what happened on the post. It got bigger. Okay, so I released it on the left. Okay? Released it on the left. That is my decision to do that. Decision 1, decision 2, decision 3. Is it open? Yes. Does it need to be closed? Yes. So I started on the left, and then I flipped them over and released it on the right. I'm definitely closing a right 20. Okay? Did I let them rest? Heck yeah. I'm not closing a right 20 until I get them to walk and chill for 5. Because a lot of those right 20s will come right up. Okay? These are not decisions I make immediate to close it up. So you have open and need to closed. Okay? You have collapsed. So now we have some language of what open is, rotation reduced. We have where the rotation increases, all right? But the rotation reduces, so it's open, but you need to close it. And then the other thing is where the whole thing just falls down. There's one other scenario. Okay? So there's 2 indicators. The rotation should reduce, okay? And the weight should reduce in the direction of the release. Okay? Now, a lot of times, the direction you release, and all of a sudden it goes to 0 or 1 on the other side, do not get confused and think that's coming out at you. If you did a left release, okay, and the weight came to you, okay, which means you're saying it should go to the right, all right, and it came in and it was a left 1, don't feel like, oh, I should push it the other direction or something like that if the rotation reduced. If you get it between 0 and 3, you get it between 0 and 3, it's open and it's there. So pay attention to it. 1 pound on one side versus 1 pound on the other side doesn't make it right or left. It makes it clear. Okay, so just be cautious and be careful and be patient and let innate do its thing. So open is when the rotation clears. Innate will tell you when it's open. Innate will tell you when you need to close it. Innate will tell you when it's collapsed. And innate will tell you when you're on the wrong side. Okay? So you can have it open and be on the wrong side. You can have it open and you just need to turn it over, not because you're on the wrong side, but because it's got a breakdown there that you need to clean up that you didn't get from the other side. Opening isn't enough. It needs help on that. Okay? Okay. So let's see what this looks like. Here is a scenario, and I'm going to show you all 4 scenarios right now. Okay, and we'll wrap it up. So here is a one here, and this one I want to set up as, it's an RLR with an LLR, okay? So I look at this right away, and I go, okay, what's down below? Here's the head is right, so what is down below on the structure that's left? Well, there it is. It's easy as it gets. So this is going to be an easy setup as a right, 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 left, left, left. It has a single dysfunction with a head indicator, okay? It has pretty much one on this side and one on that side. Very easy. The math doesn't do a thing for me because I got 3 and 3. 3 L's and 3 R's. So this is the way I'm going to set it up, as a right, 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 left, left, left. So I'm going to start left side up, okay? So if I start left side up, what should that weight do?
Increase.
You can read it right here. The right weight should increase. If I'm on the left, the weight should increase, but if I open it, the weight should increase and the rotation should reduce, okay? And then, once innate is free, the question is if it did open it, do I need to help close it, or is it going to close itself? Fair enough? So here are those 2 scenarios right here. That's open and closed itself. Fair? Any questions? Rotation reduced, weight's normal. Balanced equation. Here's one that I opened, and the weight increased, and it opened because the rotation reduced, but it definitely needs to be closed. So instead of just releasing like I did on this one, just was a left side up, this one became a left side up and then a right side up. Any questions? This is so cool. You're just going to look at this, because the cool thing is that if you make the wrong call and you can hit the ball, Nate's going to tell you what you're going to do. And even if you made the right call, next time they come in, something may completely shift. Michael, that other person may get a right pelvis, and it may start going as a right, 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 left, 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 because you unlocked it that way and you opened it. And now other misalignments will show up that are underneath that configurations. It's cool. It's realms of the universe. All right. So this one is I'm opening it, but I'm on the wrong side. So this is an interesting one here. Okay, so let me explain this to you here. This is one that I opened it. I released it on the left, so it should go left to right. What did it do? It went to the left in weight. It came back at me, right? So that's not, something's not right. I don't buy that we have the boomerang effect. We should be releasing, and it should be releasing away from you. Okay? But why, the question is why did it open? So this is the question that I have, is if it opened, okay, do I need to do this side first and then do the other side? Or if I just on the other side a little open and I'm going to get that same effect? I don't know the answer to that question yet. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. But this one's a possibility of, this one right here is open but wrong side. Means I release the rotation. So regardless, I'm definitely flipping this person over. Okay? I'm definitely going to say, hey, you know what? I started on the left. Definitely wrong. Because the body is moving to the left. So if it's moving to the left, what side should I be on? I want to go with innate. If it's moving to the left, what side should I be on?
Right.
Thank you. Yeah. So look at this right here, okay, is this right 14 is going left 6. It's moving to the left, yes? So I want to be on the right-hand side. So if this happened, this was the pre, and this was the post I got on that, I'd flip the person over whether it was open or not. Because I'm always going with innate. And Nate says to me, hey, Friedman, you're releasing this the wrong way. I want to go this way. You got me? Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Brian Laneville, do you see this?
The point is, it seems like you're pushing it further, and that's what you're doing, opening it. So you say, why would I go right if it's on the left? If it's moving left, we're going to move it as open as far out as it needs to be, and then it'll bounce back.
Perfect, exactly. But I'm saying if you want to open it, you need to follow innate. You got me? Innate will tell you how it wants to get opened. That's the whole message here. Okay, so I start with a setup. I start with a release. I see what happens if you're going to have one of these four scenarios, okay, and you're going to make a decision. Open and done, one and done, open and close, or open and leave it there. And I'll say, I'm going to see what innate does, okay? Or you opened it because the rotation, but it's moving in the opposite direction that you're releasing it, you're definitely flipping it over. And if the whole damn thing collapses, you're obviously flipping it over because you just collapsed it all the way over on the other side. You got to get it out of the hole now. So you better start releasing it the other way. Fair enough? Okay. And this is like the greatest thing, man. I'm getting no love here, man. Okay, so let's do one. Okay, here it is. What's this going to set up as?
Left, right.
Perfect. So the setup is going to be a left and a right. Okay, I'm just writing it that way because this is not the best thing. Okay, do we have a skull indicator? No, we don't have a skull indicator. And maybe it's, yeah, we could say it's here. Excuse me, I'd say yes, not no. We have a bow to a shoulder, a bow to a head dysfunction. So we have a head that's in the right place, okay? And so it's not really, it could be an indicator, but we have a possibility of that bow is bent over, and that's why that head and neck are just have to be even more functionally distorted. They're on the correct side, but they're just tilting even more right than they should be. Okay? So the math is you got 4 L's and 2.
Hey, Russ.
Yeah, 1 second, Andy, because I feel like I may be confusing here. I just want to clean this up. So we look at this, and this one's easy to look at because you can say, if I just change this R just right off the bat, then I've got L's and R's. Okay, that's easy. All right. You could say, hey, that shoulder is definitely dysfunction, so I have a single dysfunction. Okay, and you can look at the math, and you could say, hey, man, I got to release more L's here. Okay, and that would create a problem. The math one here is the one that I won't go with. Okay, if you've got 4 L's, you would say, I'm going to release this on the left. And I'm going to tell you I'm going to release this on the right because I'm saying this is going to set up as an LLL, okay, RRR. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, I'm releasing the right side. So that's where I'm going to disagree with the math here, okay? So that's why you look at all of those. You look at the head, you look at the single dysfunction, you look at the math, you make your best call. Okay? Is that fair? Yep. Chad, does that help you?
Say Chad or Brad?
Chad Combs. No? Anybody here still?
You going?
Chad, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. That's good.
Okay, you're cool?
Yep.
Okay, so if we look at these things, we then see what the posts are. Okay? And we see, okay, this one is open, okay? This one's open pretty bit. Oh, close. It moved a little bit. Is it open all the way? No, I don't think so, but it moved and it reduced, okay? Is it good? It's hard to tell. Okay, it depends on, I go by feel, I could feel when I hit the bottom, okay? This one's moving in the wrong direction. The weight's getting bigger and the rotation's getting bigger, so it's collapsing. This one, I released it on the right. The weight's getting smaller and the rotation's getting smaller, okay? So this one's definitely done. Okay, this one's kind of maybe sort of. It's moving in the right direction, but doesn't look like I'm totally open. Okay, so maybe I'd get back up on that thing because it looks like it's moving in the right direction. But, this one's a funny one right here. This one maybe makes me think that, maybe it doesn't like what I'm doing and I'm just not getting any action because I really didn't. Because I tend to think that, I can bring in like the big band and get a lot of stuff going on. So this one, I would say, nothing's really happening there, right? So maybe I'll go on the other side. You with me on that? Can you dig on that?
Yes.
Okay, this one's definite. Okay, this one's definite. Bigger and collapsed. This one's smaller all the way around. This one's open and I opened it on the right side, and it got bigger. It moved out to the left. So this one, what do I got to do? This one's an open and close. This one's a one and done. This one's I'm definitely flipping over because I'm never going back on that side. I'll make a note of that, okay, and collapsing it, all right? And this one I may flip over. You know, if it was a new patient, I definitely would flip them over and see what flied because nothing moved real well. Okay? Very good. Okay. All right, so I'm done. Okay, so I just want to talk to you for just a moment because I want to tell you about the group, and I literally just need about 3 minutes. First of all, are there any questions? So set up, release. See what innate does. Okay, is it open? Do you need to close it? Is it collapsed? Are you on the wrong side? I mean, is it going away from you? Or is it going towards you? Okay? Simple. Okay, so I want to have a conversation about advanced work and basic work. There is no such thing as basic work and advanced work. There's only current work. Okay, and current work is only based on non-current work, which is a predecessor, which was current at one time, which you have to have. So there was a time where I learned, okay, what a PRS was and an ASRA, okay? I then redefined that in another technique as two patterns, and I measured stuff. I then defined that in another technique that got more definition, okay? And all that is built on. Then one day I said, how do I get the atlas to move the pelvis? Because the pelvis is the bigger mover. How do I get my energy down there? And hence, the question was born is how do we make a connection? And this is where we are today from it, okay? So if you want to learn the most current things, you need to engage me, okay? And what that means is you need to be in relationship with me. I create relationships in many different ways. Okay, one way I create a relationship is on Facebook with you so that I could give you ideas and annoy you to think. It's the way I do it. Sometimes I give you answers, sometimes I tell you no, sometimes I just don't even answer because I want everybody to think about it because it's just a process of thinking. Okay, if you don't engage in that, and it's only, I've got 3 of you on here that engage. Okay? All right, if you want to engage, there's no wrong. Because when you in this system, when you have the necessary tools and you release something based on better information than any other chiropractor on the planet, okay? You know why? Because we now can look at something and watch innate. Because we could say, hey, I could see that doesn't want that. It's amazing. Okay, that happens on the Facebook and that also happens on the webinars, okay? What happens in the classes and the conferences is where you get to see this animated and not on a screen. And we get to engage it 3-dimensionally. And then we get to touch it, engage it 3-dimensionally, okay? So, you know, guys, you're here because you want to do your best work, okay? You want to do your best work. That's obvious. I'm telling you like a patient what that care plan, how that exists. And that exists that you need to show up for office visits, okay? And that is the process of what you see here, okay? And you can't do it by telemarketing either, okay? And the reason you can't do that is because you can't get the touch of this thing over the phone, all right? And I want to be able to have you feel what I can do, and I want to feel what you can do, and others want to do that, okay? So I ask you to show up to the classes, okay? It's like our lifeblood for this to happen. Okay, everybody's on here for, you know, graciously. Same thing with the Facebook stuff. It's a constant giving and supporting you, okay? So we have a lot of new information, okay? A lot of new information. And if you have been in the certification process, and you've not been hanging out, you've been obsolete. So after next conference, we are going to recertify everybody if you want to be. Otherwise, you won't have any certification. You'll never have to pay again for something that you did, but you will have to take the test over. So if you want to be Q or you want to be QS or QSM, you will need to take the S test over. And it's going to be exactly what we're doing here. It's straight up. Andy's writing it. Okay? So with all this stuff that we're doing, we're also looking at ways to change. And just give me one more minute. I know I always go late. I try to give you everything I can in my most current stuff. So I come from a bone out of place, and I come from an atlas out of place, and I had to break away from all that. And everything I do is different. And tonight I gave you another piece of that. Is I left a section of a fixed point, and I left a section of this and that so that I can go global. Okay, so we're not going to have membership in this group for 2018. We're going to support the people that show up to conferences. Okay, so when you come to a conference, you're listed on the website. If you don't come to conferences and you went to one 5 years ago, you'll also be listed on the website. Okay, but obviously people will get to see if you are doing the work, and maybe you're unable to come and you're doing as much as you can. Well, we want to be able to support you. Okay, so there are people that can't come to a conference all the time, and they can't be as current, and they come once a year or once every other year or twice a year. Well, you may be doing that work, and we don't want to just not have you on our website because you're engaged with us. We see you on the website, we see you on the webinars and so forth. So the Q Foundation has come up with an idea is to not have people pay for membership, but to show up for the classes and for us to support you as well. Okay? So it's a big thing. We want to support you in many ways. Tonight is one of them. Okay? We want to support you so that you could be the best on Facebook, and we open up that conversation. I do it almost every single day. Okay? And then also at the classes to get super current and great at what you do and support the group. That's what you give to the group also, okay, and say, I support this group, okay? So if you have not sent in the information, I ask that you do that, because if you are doing some of this work, okay, at whatever level you're doing it, okay, I refer to people all the time that don't have a posture IQ, yet in my heart, I know that they're not getting the service that I'm giving them. There's just no way. Okay? But if you're there and I know your heart's in it where you're at, because that's where you're at 100%, then man, you better believe I'm sending that person to you. All full out, 100% with all my heart. Okay? So people are almost every single day I have people contacting my office asking me if I have a patient here or there. Okay? Just alone this year, we've had over 80,000 looks at our website. The website was just redone. And we're trying to build a membership or a support group, a community that says, hey, this is what I do for a lot of people to some sort. And I hang out with you guys. Okay? That's what we want to support. Okay? Because we want to grow a great community. Any questions? All right, man. I'll see you all soon. You know, there is a Q Foundation website, QSM3 Q Foundation website. It's for patients. You should post your practice on there. Okay, put your name on it, put your contact in it. You want to post testimonials on it. It has over 3,000 likes and it gets a lot of action. So post your stuff up there. Dr. Schwarm is biomechanics. Q Foundation is about you and your office and things that are great and what you're promoting. You got a class, promote it on the Q Foundation. Get your name out there. Okay. All right, man, I gave what I could give you tonight. Everyone have a nice evening.
Thanks, Russell. Night, Russell.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Russell.
Russell. Thank you, Dr. Freeman.